So the translations are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 306, and let me just say this. This is a story-defining chapter because after we go through this review and I tell you what goes on in this chapter, you'll see that My Hero Academia is not going to be the same after this. It's a new story, most likely a new arc, and a new beginning for Deku, and we're about to talk about it right after this intro. Hit it. Guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another manga review for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 306. And to give you what the title of this chapter is, it's called The Beginning of the End. And with a chapter title like that, you know that this is going to be a very good chapter. And guess what? It is a very good chapter. But before we get more into the gist of this chapter and the review, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We just hit 500 plus subscribers. The channel has been going pretty rapidly over the last video, so I'm very happy to say that. So if you like this type of content, and since My Hero is coming to an end, and you want to follow my journey to the end of My Hero Academia with the spoilers, with the discussions, with the reviews, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this type of content. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So, before we get into the chapter proper, I'm going to go over the double page color spread that we're going to most likely get for this chapter in anticipation for the My Hero Academia Season 5 premiere. And this is going to be great because from what we have with the cover page, we have Deku on the right and Shigaraki Tomura on the left, holding their respective quote-unquote enemies on their screen. And this is just a very beautiful panel, especially with what we see with Deku and what he's shrouded in, how they're basically wearing something very similar. Like, they have the same type of shoes, their pants are somewhat ripped, they're both wearing capes. And what is very interesting about this is that even though this is in celebration for the anime, most likely what these are reflections of who they are in the current story of My Hero Academia, specifically when it comes to Deku and the cape that he's wearing, because that's actually going to most likely play a part in this chapter. So this is a very cool color page. I'm happy My Hero Academia is getting a season 5. I'm definitely going to be watching it. And nothing's gonna stop me from doing so. So yeah, from here, let's get right into the review proper, where we actually have All Might still in Deku's hospital room. He's realizing that he doesn't know exactly what's happening with inside of the quirk of One for All, but he says that, okay, I think I understand. I don't feel the words, but I feel the emotions, and I understand that you being quirkless wasn't a curse, but a blessing in disguise. And how you're talking about everything with the previous predecessor's test. So we get the reveal that more confirmation that yes, All Might can feel what's going on within the side of the quirk of One for All, but he can't directly contact with the previous users directly, nor can he really speak with Deku with inside of this quirk, which, you know, depending on how you look at it, like I've been talking about for the past few weeks, I have a new theory, semi-theory, that All Might's consciousness isn't fully within inside of One for All, and that it could potentially disappear when he dies. And this could tie into the idea, or could just tie into the idea that, oh, he still isn't there and fully conscious until All Might's physical body dies. But like I said, within my theory, I think it's like they're connected in a way where if like he dies, then that vestige inside of One for All would die as well. So this kind of ties into that idea that I have. But more importantly, it shows that even though his consciousness is somewhat inside of the quirk, it doesn't have full autonomy. It still can like convey information, but it cannot physically speak as of now, as far as we know. But from here, we actually cut over from All Might about to leave Deku's room, where it becomes confronted with Best Jeanist and Hawks, where Hawks just basically comes out as like, do you know anything about One for All? Where Best is just like, wow, that's very rude. But yeah, the main reason why this scene is happening is because the world, for the most part, knows sort of kind of the existence of One for All. And because of Hawks and Jeanist's talk with Endeavor around 2 chapters ago, they realize that, hey, All for One, Shigaraki, they're after this One for All thing, and it has some association with Midoriya. We need some information out of you, All Might. What can you tell us? And All Might is thinking to himself, it's like, there's a reason why we didn't tell the world about One for All, because we knew that this is something that would cause panic. But the world is already in panic. It already knows. We can't keep the secret anymore. And you 2 heroes are still trying to be heroes. I think it's probably best to tell you. So basically, All Might, we don't get the actual conversation of All Might telling them about One for All, but All Might tells them about One for All. He says that he's going to tell them everything, and within that same page, we also get Nezu, the principal, coming up with a plan and a request from the government to do something. And what is that thing that he's thinking of? We actually get it revealed in this chapter, but we're actually going to sort of kind of get into it really quick, because we immediately cut to 3 days later after All Might has talked to Hawks and Jeanist. After this phone call with Nezu, we cut over to a press conference where we have the top 3 heroes basically confronting the world of Japan with what they know, while you have people at home that are like, yo, this better be good. Like, if they don't come out and like do something about this, like, something has to happen. So people are really like watching with bated breath to really like see what's going to happen in this press conference, because for the most part, whatever goes down in this press conference and whatever they say will either instill more confidence in society or make it fall even further. And we're about to get more into what they say at this press conference. And from here, we get the press conference. And Endeavor and Hawks do not sugarcoat what Dabi said. Endeavor apparently goes into detail about his family life in front of the entirety of Japan, because this press conference is being broadcast most likely around Japan, if not around the world. And Endeavor is basically telling them, it's like, yeah, everything that Dabi said was true. So most likely he's talking about his abuse, how he forced Toya to death, how he did physical harm to Shoto. He's probably revealing all of that, and with an appropriate response, everyone lashes out at him. And they're like, well, and what's even worse is that we cut to people at home that are like, well, they're screwed. Oh man, I can't believe that. Oh my gosh, we actually believed in him? Please tell me he's lying. People aren't believing it, and even the reporters there is like, no, this can't be true. Like, Dabi said that, oh yeah, Best Jeanist was dead, but he's alive, so like, maybe what he's saying was a lie. And then Hawks just comes in and is like, oh no, he wasn't lying. Everything that he said was the truth. Yeah, we faked Best Jeanist's death, but yeah, my father was a villain, and I did kill someone. I'm sorry. So yeah, they apologize for everything that they did, but yeah, they're like, no. Everything that he said was true. Yeah, no. My father was a villain. I killed someone. Let me explain why I killed this person. He was dangerous. He had a copying quirk, and if we had let him live, society would have been even more doomed. And so we once again apologize. And for the most part, that's what they're doing. They're telling them exactly the reasoning why they happened. They're trying not to keep this secret from society, because by keeping this secret in the first place, if they keep this secret in the first place, it's just going to do more harm than it is going to do good. So it's best to say it to the world now and apologize for it. But then you have this one reporter who basically is like, hey, do you remember Gigento Makia's rampage? Because of that, my mother was severely injured. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of people lost their homes. And you're just gonna apologize? Y'all don't even look sorry for it. What is going on? These are just excuses. What are you going to do about it? And this person is just going off on them. She's basically berating them and telling them that not necessarily they're horrible people, but that they don't feel sorry for it. That everything that they've done is all their fault. Like, everything that has happened has been because of their actions and what they're gonna do about it. And Endeavor's like, oh, do you want me to cry about it? And it's like, what? Do you want me to cry about it? Because guess what? Yeah, sure. Everything that has happened was because of me, but guess what? Endeavor is the only one that can stop these villains, and that's the only way he can make up for it. Basically, she's yelling at him, and all he's saying is like, yeah, I know. Do you want me to cry? No, I can't cry. All I can really do is like continue to be a hero and save people. That's the only way I can repent. So yeah, like Endeavor, and what is very interesting is that if this isn't a translation issue, he specifically says Endeavor. He doesn't necessarily say I, he doesn't say me, he says Endeavor. He says Endeavor as the hero, because that is what Endeavor is. He's the person that is the hero. He's the one who's going to be saving people. And now, with this idea in mind, it's like the Todoroki of Endeavor and Endeavor are now two separate entities, which this could be what that's alluding to, but maybe not. But I still kind of find that wording interesting. But yeah, basically, Endeavor's going to be the one to continue to be a hero, but we also have Best Jeanist that chimes in, and this ties into what happened earlier in this chapter with Nezu, most likely, where we have Best Jeanist saying, yeah, we have this specific plan that we're about to execute that basically prioritizes the specific families of the Hero Corps students to basically live at UA. So yeah, if they're family members of the students, they're going to be moving on to UA for better protection, as well as provide shelter for them while they live with the students, while their students are becoming heroes. As we cut over to Inko, as well as Bakugo's mom, I keep forgetting her name, but yeah, we cut over to them, and we're shown that they're moving into the school, where we have even more reporters are like, what are you doing providing shelter? Are you crazy? Like, why would you do that? And they're probably referencing the fact that UA has been broken into like once or twice. So it's like, you think that that's a secure place? It's been broken into. Are you crazy? But then we have Endeavor chiming in. Wait. Let's pause. Pause the video right now. I just realized something. I just realized Best Jeanist's neck is actually long. I kid you not. I don't know why. I see that he's wearing like this suit, but the like neck cuff goes all the way up, because we also see more of his face in this chapter. I'm just realizing that he has a long neck. I know I interrupted this review just to do that, but I just had to get that out. Best Jeanist's neck game is on fleek. Anyway, the conference ends with Endeavor lighting his face on fire and saying that I request you to just watch me. As we cut over to other heroes who are apparently still trying to fight the good fight. We have the narrator basically saying that, yeah, heroes have gone down. If you're looking for a hero, there may not be a hero to out to your call, but despite that, there are still people fighting. As we cut over to Wash, as we cut over to Mount Lady, who I thought was Ryuku in the spoilers, but it's actually Mount Lady. We have Aizawa, we have Miruko, and I'm still saying that the person at the bottom is Kamui Woods. Basically, a lot of like the top 10 heroes are still fighting the fight, because guess what? Most likely they're not in it for the glory, they're not in it for the money, which, if that is Mount Lady, which now I look at it, it has to be Mount Lady. If Mount Lady isn't in it for the money, that just shows how much of a hero she actually is. Because, like, at the first part of the story, Mount Lady was like this person who was like, oh yeah, she's only doing it for the fame and the fortune. But no, she's actually doing it because she wants to be a hero. And that's very interesting. So we're most likely going to see a lot of more of these pro heroes taking more leadership roles in the hero society, probably doing a lot more as heroes. But then we also cut to the bottom of this page where we have Dabi, who's like, I guess that wasn't enough torment, Dad. So most likely Dabi is going to try and, obviously, try to destroy Endeavor's morality once again, to eventually lead to Endeavor's death. No surprise, it's Dabi. He's a actual lunatic. But from here, we may actually get to like probably the most like heartbreaking part of this chapter, because from that piece of dialogue from the narrator, we also cut over to another piece of confirmation that Endeavor did not tell the world about One for All. He still kept that a secret. And like, yeah, it's great to tell like the other heroes that you trust about what One for All is, but it's still not great to tell the entirety of Hero Society. So Endeavor basically says like, oh yeah, no, I have no idea what One for All is. Nope. Deadpan, straight face, lies in front of the entire society. No, I have no idea what it is. But there's a reason for it, because he's there to protect Deku and All Might. Because still think about it like this. If the villains knew, which also ties into the idea that the reasoning why the students' parents are being held at UA is because, if villains could like attack the families of the heroes, they can use them as leverage and still do whatever they want. So it's best to protect the families of the heroes so that they can remain safe, which is great because guess what? That ties into like the bigger theme of like Hero Society, where you literally have like a character like Shigaraki, like Nanashimura, who the reason why they gave up on their family is because they tried to protect them, and now UA is trying to like do that and take an active like pursuit to try and protect these students' families, so that if they want to be heroes, they can do so without the burden of like putting their family in danger because they're in a secured area. So that kind of ties into that idea, and I really like that they're doing that. But like I said, we're also getting into probably like the most heartbreaking moment of this chapter, because we get, like we said, we have Endeavor who lies about One for All to protect Deku and All Might because villains could try and steal One for All or attempt to steal One for All and do harm to them. But we actually cut over to the 1A dorms, where we apparently have this idea that Deku has left a letter at everyone's door, and from what we see with the letters, he basically tells them that he is leaving UA. And that the reasoning why he's leaving UA is because Shigaraki and All for One are trying to take a quirk away from him, because the quirk that he got from All Might. So he basically like tells this to everyone, most likely, and but we only see the letter from Uraraka's perspective. We see the letter that Deku specifically gives to Uraraka, and we have this moment with Uraraka, who's like, you dummy, as we have the narrator talking about how basically talking about how a hero is someone who doesn't falter in any situation, no matter how dire. But then you have the narrator, or most likely Uraraka, questioning, well, what do I call someone like you, in reference to Deku? Because when you really think about it, Deku, it's not that he's quitting, it's just that he realizes that if he stays at UA, it's basically a beacon to put everyone around him in danger, because Shigaraki and All for One was like, oh, he's here? Alright. We'll go there and we'll try to take it. Anyone gets in our way, we'll kill him. So he's basically separating himself from everyone else as a way of protecting them, which is unfortunate because Uraraka loves him. So most likely this is referring to the idea of like, if like you have heroes that save the people, who is there to save the heroes? And that's kind of like what Uraraka has been thinking about for the past like few arcs. Who are going to be the people to save the heroes? And now she's realizing, oh, Deku is a hero, but I wasn't there to help him or to save him. So this is eventually, hopefully, most likely going to lead to more character growth and development for Uraraka. And speaking of character development and growth, we cut over to the final page, or the final double page of this chapter, where you get the title reveal, Chapter 306, the beginning of the end, where we cut over to April, which is very interesting because most likely everything that happened towards like the beginning of March, or at least in the middle of March, most likely towards the beginning of March. As we cut over to like almost a month later, where we get to see Deku, who's like fully covered in rags. His hero costume is just damaged. It's like he's been wearing it for weeks on end, as we get the final reveal that Deku-kun leaves My Hero Academia as he sees the city being attacked by a villain attack, a big villain attack, alluding to the fact that he's been doing this for a while. And what makes this even worse is that we see like little bags under his eyes, meaning that he's been probably doing this non-stop as the chapter ends and the beginning of the end. We don't know how long the end is going to last, The end could last another 100 chapters. It could pull a Bleach and take up like a third of the entire story as a whole. We just don't know. But we're at the very least getting into the final act of My Hero Academia. Because if the first act is the heroes rising, the second act was the villains rising, this is going to be a hero redemption, or the heroes like coming back into context, trying to save the society that is already broken, trying to rebuild it, as Deku as a crucial piece of it. Because frankly, this is going to be a very different story from here on out, because this has been the story of My Hero Academia, but in the case of Deku, it is no longer his Hero Academia. He's now gone into the world. He can now be a hero, or probably more of a vigilante. Technically, no. He can't really be a vigilante because he has a provisional license, but that's where like it becomes a slippery slope when you think about it. Because yes, he can be a hero. He has a provisional license, but that is like under the preview that he's going to school. It's like having like a learner's permit. Yes, you can drive, but you can't really drive unless you have someone else in the car. And I think a provisional license works very similarly, but if it doesn't, like, yeah, he has a provisional license. Theoretically, he can do this, but there may be like some legal like ramifications for it. And even though he may have the provisional license, he still may be considered a vigilante. It's very confusing. We're probably going to get more into it later on, if not next chapter, like multiple chapters in the future. But yeah, at the very least, this is no longer My Hero Academia, or My Deku Hero Academia, Macadamia, what to call it. Deku story. This My Hero Academia is no longer My Hero, or technically it is. Oh gosh, this is going to be very conflicting. It's obviously still going to be under the My Hero title, but like, is it going to be like My Hero Academia? Because Deku's not in Academia. What I think is going to be happening is that from here on out, we're probably going to be following 3 storylines, sort of, kind of. Maybe even 4. We're definitely going to hopefully stick to the kids going through academia, like Bakugo, Uraraka, because it's still called My Hero Academia. We still have to have some focus on the academia aspect of it, but we're most likely also going to be following Deku as he grows as an individual, as a hero, as he goes more in line with like trying to help the society as a whole without staying in school. But we're still most likely going to be following the villains, as we're most likely going to get more conflict between All For One and Shigaraki. And then 4th, we're probably also going to be following the pro heroes as they also try to fight off the villains and try to preserve society, if not rebuild it. So there's going to be 4 potential storylines from just this chapter alone, and this is going to change My Hero Academia moving forward, because we're probably going to go from focusing on the academia part to the hero part, and that's going to be very interesting. So overall, really enjoyed this chapter. This is a very long review because there's a lot to cover, and I still didn't cover everything, but I still really enjoyed this chapter. This is a defining point in the story of My Hero Academia, and hopefully this is going to get a lot more people into it, because we're going more into the final arc, and we're diverging from totally academia to being more hero centric, having Deku on his own. And this may be like true character development for Deku, being a hero on his own, like going up against villains, trying his best to fight for society, trying to help and save people. He may have changed completely within a month. And I would also like to see, probably what's most likely going to happen is that we're going to get like a lot of these like plot points like lining up with Deku going up against All For One and Shigaraki at one moment, or he's going with pro heroes to do something, or even seeing his old friends, seeing how they've changed, seeing how he's changed. There's a lot of potential for what this chapter can lead to in the future, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing it. So yeah, that's all I really have to say on this chapter so far. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts on this chapter. If you did, leave a like, leave a subscription in the subscription box. I know that sounds weird. Hit the notification button if you want to be notified for and whenever I post these reviews. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye.